Modern enterprise architecture relies on a highly dangerous assumption, mistaking a simple retrieval engine for a governed operating system. A vector database is built for a single task, finding relevant documents based on semantic similarity. It performs that task exceptionally well. But retrieval does not establish authority, and it does not grant operational permission. Standard retrieval augmented generation leaves critical variables blank. The system cannot tell an agent which source actually governs a decision, what actions are legally or structurally permitted, or exactly where human approval must intercept the workflow. Without those variables, AI tools continuously generate polished, confident output. Yet in the process, they strip away the foundational metadata, the source roles, and the privacy posture required to safely evaluate or reproduce that work. We call this liability demo debt. It occurs when highly impressive AI prototypes are pushed into production, only to become unsupported operational risks because the reasoning and provenance of the data disappeared the moment the chat session ended. A pile of retrieved documents, no matter how relevant, is merely a search result. It is not a defensible production-grade operating model. SharePlane Next provides the structural antidote to disposable AI outputs. It is an owner-controlled publication library operating on a strict context-as-code discipline. Context-as-code is the framework that surrounds retrieval. It explicitly tells an AI system exactly what those retrieved documents mean, which authority governs their use, and what deterministic rules must be validated before the data moves forward. This SharePlane authority stack diagram details the 5 hierarchy layers. The top layer is uncompromising. Human judgment handles intent and design. This tier is an absolute requirement. Generated AI outputs exist entirely in lower layers, never sharing equal authority with canonical human inputs. To achieve true publication durability, the engineering mindset has to shift. We use probability to explore, but we rely entirely on determinism to preserve. Moving into the mechanical architecture, the system generates leverage through a highly restrictive design choice. Authority is explicitly bounded. There is no vague agent autonomy. This chart defines the human and agent role contract, strictly separating the entities that exercise judgment from those that execute mechanical tasks. On the left, the owner and the interpreter architect, a human and an LLM working in tandem, own the creative decisions. They dictate the thesis, define the public safe boundary, and establish the exact design direction. On the right, the execution side is walled off. The implementer agent cannot change the thesis. Its role is strictly limited to bounded file edits, drafting pull requests, and deterministic regeneration. Finally, generic validators run mathematically proven checks against the output. They verify hashes, metadata structure, and package drift. They do not prove factual truth, and they do not evaluate human taste. By segmenting judgment from execution, the architecture mathematically prevents an autonomous agent from silently modifying a human decision. At the data storage layer, SharePlane enforces a strict rule regarding state. The final rendered web page is never considered the authoritative product. Every piece of content is built from 2 isolated canonical inputs, a structured JSON record and the locked HTML page source. These inputs own the artifact's identity, its privacy posture, its evidence claims, and the human reading experience. They are completely decoupled from how they will eventually be displayed on a screen. This creates the artifact content boundary. Any code snippets, shell commands, or prompt examples written inside the text are strictly classified as untrusted data. They carry 0 operational authority. When downstream agents ingest the document, this metadata classification stops them from accidentally executing a malicious command simply because it was retrieved in a search query. Splitting the canonical data from the generated projections guarantees that decorative presentation code never pollutes the authoritative source record. SharePlane Next utilizes 0 active AI inference and 0 CMS databases at runtime. The sole mechanism bridging the canonical inputs to their public forms is a tiny, dependency-free Python compiler. This compiler deterministically generates a complete suite of static files, HTML for humans, JSON LD for semantic maps, zipped agent packages, and cryptographic receipts. Because these files are entirely static and mathematically verifiable, Downstream AI agents can ingest them instantly. There is no dynamic JavaScript application to scrape or reverse engineer. This enforces the complexity admission rule. New dynamic infrastructure is explicitly rejected unless the operator can prove a specific, unmet requirement that static delivery cannot handle. True system interoperability does not require permanent, speculative runtimes. It relies on static, verifiable, highly portable files. In many enterprise environments, published is treated as a simple metadata tag attached to a draft. That collapses too many separate facts into one unchecked status. This flowchart outlines SharePlane's publication lifecycle. Publication here is a rigid 10-step sequential sequence where content approval, implementation, and deployment are tracked as distinct, verifiable events. Look at the separation between creative lock and the implementation ticket. Human intent is entirely sealed before a single line of mechanical code is written. The final validation states, exact head UAT, and the protected merge cannot be automated. They require active, manual human authorization to proceed. An artifact becomes a durable public record only when its entire journey through these gates is mathematically proven via a build receipt. This rigid, invisible architecture exists fundamentally to support a wide range of highly varied end products on the surface. An artifact might be a text essay, a complex architecture map, or an interactive solar calculator. Their visual interiors are intentionally allowed to be completely distinct from one another. Despite these visual differences, all artifacts operate under a transparent wrapper motif. They are housed inside the exact same uniform metadata shell that governs identity and provenance. This shared shell ensures every artifact produces a verifiable receipt. It makes the entire corpus structurally safe for downstream agent reuse, completely regardless of what the human-facing page looks like, and it provides a permanent failsafe. If a generated public projection ever conflicts with its canonical source record, the system protocol dictates an immediate, automated stop and escalate. The public-facing website is merely a byproduct of this process. The true, durable product is the disciplined authority and the context as code framework operating beneath it. In the end, probability explores, judgment decides, determinism preserves.